Hello everyone, this is Yolok Munim. I'm a professor in Norway and I'm also the founder of Research Hub. Here I'm going to talk about hypothesis development. I review a lot of studies as a supervisor, as a reviewer in journals, as an editor in journals, and I see a lot of the time hypotheses are reported in a wrong way or they don't include the things they must include to have a sound and good or well formatted hypothesis. So one of the first thing we have to think about when developing hypothesis is that it can be disproved. If your statement is such a statement that it cannot be disproved, then it's not a hypothesis. Okay? So you have to make sure your hypothesis, the statement can be disproved. It can be proved or supported or should be also and should be also able to disproved. Okay? This thing is called falsifiability. Okay, the ability to falsify a statement. So this is the first thing. The second thing, a hypothesis must have a direction. A lot of the time we see hypotheses where people do not present the direction of the hypothesis, whether the association is positive, negative. So we must have the mention of direction in a hypothesis. Of course, you can have non-directional hypothesis, then we use the two-tailed test, right? But it is recommended that you come up with a direction. You use previous literature and you report the direction of the hypothesis, which leads to the third point, which is that you must have argument, deductive reasoning. You must have argument based on deductive reasoning, based on the findings of past studies to develop your hypothesis. Normally, we put one or two paragraphs of argument based on past studies, findings of past studies. We try to relate our hypothesis using the deductive logic, and then we present our hypothesis statement. So you must have one paragraph, two paragraphs of explanation, then present your hypothesis instead of just listing five hypotheses in one part of your literature review, right? Also remember, hypothesis is normally presented in the second part, in the literature review part of the of the research work. Okay. Fourth point: always report the alternative hypothesis. So normally we know hypothesis can be null hypothesis, alternative hypothesis, but in research articles or thesis, whatever we are writing, we always write the alternative hypothesis. Null hypothesis is boring. It basically says that there is no association, right? There is no association, no effect, no influence. So it's actually boring. What we want to see, what we want to state in our hypothesis is that there is an effect, there is an association, right? There is an influence. So we always state the alternative hypothesis in our research studies. And hypotheses are usually supported or disproved or supported or rejected based on hypothesis testing methods which comes with p-values, right? So you have to remember that if you do qualitative research, you cannot test a hypothesis. Hypothesis is only for quantitative studies. When you do some statistical method, when you use some statistical methods, that comes with p-values. Okay. Last point here is that the fifth and last point is that hypothesis, when stating hypothesis, you have to be very careful with the wording. Are you saying association? Are you saying effect? Are you saying influence? So if you say X affects Y, you are suggesting causation, and causation is not as same as correlation, right? These are two different things. Correlation is when one goes up, another also goes up. But causation, it might happen that when one goes up, another can also go down or up also. But the main thing when we are actually dealing with causation is that one of the main thing we do is we make sure that there is a time factor. So X happened, let's say in 2025, and then Y happened in 2026. So X happened before Y happened. So this time lag, thing, that's very important when actually we are stating hypothesis and research design. So, but if you're not sure about the causation thing, use the term associated, or there is a relation. So you can say there is a positive relation between X and Y. X is positively associated with Y. So you can use these words rather than forcing the causation part. And for causation part, there are several other things that we have to make sure when we are actually doing causation tests. Normally we do it in experimental settings, but also in other settings we can do with the time lags and several other approaches. I will make another video about that later in detail. That's all. I hope you find it useful, and I hope this will help you to make proper hypotheses in your research. Good luck with your research work, and subscribe to Research Hub. Cheers.